What is going on, everybody? Welcome. We've got a lot of people talking on the internet, and we're going to respond.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
It's lunchtime. What is going on, everybody? Lunch with the Clydesdale time. I am here solo because Corey Leonard is a customer, and he's got to make that coin so he can support the family, and he's doing all that. But hopefully his phone call ends. He can jump on with us later in the show. But so excited to have the rest of you here with us. Looks like we have a little bit of one-upsmanship in the chat. Lido, member for 9 months. Then Kenneth the Lap comes in with member for 22 months. And then Jay Birch jumps in for member for 31 months. Jay Birch, man, you're almost at 3 years as a member of this channel. I'll tell you what. You guys don't know how much that little $3.99 is, or $6.99, whatever level you're at. We try to keep the intro level at the lowest that YouTube will allow us. $3.99, that's all it is. If you hit that join button and join the channel, it allows us to get this show up and running every single day, and pays for all the platforms that we have to pay for to get that to happen. And then Corey, but he's actually part of the family now, 37 months a member. Damn. Man, we got some OGs in the house. OGs in the house. Repping Penn State, of course, always do. Hopefully we have a better season than last. At least wrestling gave us a little flash of genius. But yeah. Vicky made it so I can stop stressing out. Yeah. I always wonder, like, is she okay? Is she okay? Do I need to check on her? But she's made it, so I'm good. I'm good. And a shoop, hi. Shanna Bunch, always a pleasure to have. Daniel Arnson. Yeah, Corey's doing the workouts. Yeah. Jody must not have a customer. She's here. Aku Black Dragon. Great having all you guys here. So anyway, what I want to do first is, yesterday we talked about the amputee, and Mark Phillips did send me a video so I can show you like how he is able to be a cornhole player, but while being a quadruple amputee. So this is his video on Instagram, and this is how he throws the cornhole bag. So there he is. This is the guy who allegedly murdered a passenger in his car with a gun. And then if we go back here, you can see how he can shoot a gun. So here he is loading a pistol and firing it at a range. Now, the only question I still have is how he's able to do this and still drive. Joseph Ramirez, he lived 10 minutes from me in Southern Maryland. Wow. So he did all this while driving a vehicle, shot a man, and then drug him out of a car into a yard. So yeah. If there's a will, there's a way. And then Joseph and Kenneth both are like, it was a Tesla autopilot. Okay. There we go. There's your answer. Exactly, Vicky. Such a wild story. I still didn't believe it was true when I saw it, but now it's all coming together. It's a true story. Can't believe that all happened. Jay Birch says, does he have any prosthetics? I don't know. I didn't see anything on his Instagram where it showed that or any of his activities. And Daniel's like, I don't know how he's dragging a body. I don't either. Corey Leonard, my wife has a Tesla Model 3. Autopilot doesn't work that well. And not to blame the dead guy, but how fast can this guy's draw be? Yeah, I would think there was some warning signs. I think Corey said yesterday, it's not that hard to get out of a car. Like you just pull the handle and fall out. And that would have been a better option than getting shot and killed in a car. But yeah, we don't want to blame the dead guy. Although he could have done something about that. But yeah, what a wild story, man. And with this week, the week I am having at work, like I needed that release or whatever it was to kind of dig into that story and talk to you guys about it. Because it's been it was a long week yesterday and it was only Tuesday. Today hasn't gotten much better. I'm just hoping Friday gets here soon. So, adrenaline and desperation can be a hell of a motivator. I am sure. Yes. And there were other people in the car. Jody says, hey, maybe the victim was blind. There you go. Everything has an explanation. Just ask Ilsa or whatever her name was that got 4-year ban yesterday. We got to see that live on the show yesterday. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. And that is, so she gets a 4-year ban. Do you think that for doctoring videos, lying, putting up illegit scores, do you think a 4-year ban is appropriate for that kind of cheating? And I do. I really do. I think if you've gone to that many lengths to cheat the system, then 4 years is appropriate. I would have been okay with 2. I would have been okay with it, but I'm really okay with 4. I think if you go to that many lengths to cheat the system, you are deserving of like the max penalty. So, so I'm glad that Eku Black Dragon and Daniel Arnson said this. Cheating is cheating. So I don't know if you saw this, but Toby Buckland. Yeah, I talk for a living. Toby Buckland made a post and it was shared by the Barbell Spin where he said if cheating is cheating, then he knows firsthand that athletes in camps have known what workouts were at the CrossFit Games and have been able to train for them for weeks before them, while other athletes don't know those workouts. And if you go down the road of cheating is cheating, should those camps and should those athletes who get leaked workouts ahead of time, should they be given a 4-year ban as well? Now, that's a question posed by Toby Buckland, and it was shared by the Barbell Spin on Instagram today. Joseph says, we talked about it last night on the Glintons. Trevor Bockenmeyer got the same 4-year ban for looping his Dubs workout. Hexy Lover, cheating is cheating. As many cheats as she did, permanent ban is a deterrent for any future cheaters. Yeah, I think a 4-year ban is a pretty big deterrent. That takes a good chunk of your prime away. Jody wonders who imposed the ban. Was there like a committee or was it Dave? I really don't know. Yes, Kenneth. Toby Buckland did not name names, but I am pretty doggone sure he was referencing the Chad workout where people knew the box setup beforehand. And I know I've heard the crossover double unders the first year they were introduced in 2022. There were a handful of athletes who had the beaded rope that made those easier at the games and others that did not. Andrew Sten, if they act on that knowledge, then they are technically cheating. If someone sends me info I shouldn't have, that isn't on me, that is on the sender. What about the OPEX weight diameter scandal? I don't remember what happened there. I don't either, Mark. Yeah. See, that's where you get to like shades of cheating, right? That is like, because the OPEX incident, they had the proper weight on the bar. They just had smaller plates so they could jump over it easier for bar facing burpees. And they didn't like doctor video. They didn't go to all these lengths. So I think anytime you say cheating is cheating, you pin yourself in a corner for things that may not quite be as bad. But then again, maybe people do think it's as bad. So should we pin ourselves in that corner? Should we say that all cheating is cheating? And if you are caught cheating, then you are up for a 4-year ban, whether it's PEDs, whether it's doctoring video, whether it's, I don't know. I think it could be a slippery slope if we do that. Carolyn Prevo in the chat. 2019, many people knew the first event. 2022, people knew the yoke carry, clean, and deadlift WOD. And this is from someone that was at those 2 games. So I get what Andrew was saying earlier about Andrew Sten, that if you are sent the information, that's not on you, that's on the sender. But the minute you take that information and you use it to get an advantage, then it's on you. I don't know. I think Mark Phillips, Andrew Sten, that begs the question, are you now obligated to share with the world? It's a gray area. I don't know if you're obligated to share it with the world. I think you're obligated to report it. But maybe not your responsibility to share it with the world. John George asked, do you believe her coach had no idea? I don't. I also think whoever signed her sheet and verified her score should be held accountable. Not sure if you discussed this or not, just hit here. We didn't discuss it today, but we have discussed it on the Sunday night show, as well as earlier in the week, that anybody who signed off on that workout and said it was good should be held accountable as well. If you receive info on the workout, you absolutely should share it. Level the playing field. I think it's your obligation to share it to CrossFit HQ or whatever competition organizers are running the event to say, I got this leaked information. I did not use it. I'm just letting you know that someone is out there sending it. Ken Walters wants to know if Cowboy and I broke up after yesterday's tiff. We did not. We did not. We just needed a break. So we're on a break. No, he actually has some work responsibilities that he's taking care of. He was hoping to be done in time, and he said he would jump on if he gets done within our time period. But you gotta make the money for the family. Yep. Once you receive info no one should have, it's on you to share it with HQ. Scott, she cheated multiple times in the same workout to prove she didn't cheat. I I agree. I have no problem with the suspension for her, but I think it should also go to anybody who signed off on her workout. Anybody who said it was legit, judge, affiliate, whoever signed off on that, whoever validated it, and whoever signed it as a judge should be responsible as well. An NDA is just a piece of paper. Joseph, I will say this. An NDA is only a piece of paper if you don't act on it. If you are an actor in the Marvel universe and you leak movie information, that movie studio will come after you hard over that NDA and they will win. It is the threat of action on the NDA that is the important part. If you have someone sign an NDA and then you don't hold them accountable for the NDA, then it's just a piece of paper. Daniel says, yep, because you can't guarantee all your competitors will get the info. Send to HQ, let them handle it. Teresa, if you missed it, it wasn't a tiff. We disagreed on an aspect of quarterfinals and the workouts yesterday. It was just a good, healthy discussion. No tiff. Open scores are automatically verified, though, to be fair. Right, but that's what I'm saying. If it was done at an affiliate, though, and you are responsible for that, if you invalidated it, then I think you're in the clear. You can still invalidate. And it's your responsibility as the affiliate manager to invalidate any scores that you don't feel are correct. Yes, there were more people complicit in the lie. Speaking of not cheating, don't cheat on your sleep quality. Get your third Z. Go to thirdz.com/jazzy. Or as Vicky says, at checkout, use the promo code Jazzy to get that good night's sleep. I got almost 9 hours of sleep last night, people. 9 hours. Third Z knocked me out cold. I woke up this morning feeling refreshed and recovered, and I am super stoked that I got that much sleep. And you can too. Just go to thirdz.com/jazzy. Get that non-melatonin sleep quality and as well as that collagen protein recovery, and you will have a better day as much as I do. Daniel says, I welcome any Marvel leaks. Paige Smith, you don't have to validate. Right, but you can invalidate. The validation is automatic, but you as the affiliate manager can invalidate. So there we go. Corey and I's fight was nothing compared to Jamie and Scott fight. I will agree on that. I will agree. I agree. So along with this cheating stuff, I don't know if you guys all saw this, but Ben Smith had something to say. And this, wrong one. This is, I'll read what Ben Smith says over here. I'm hearing lots of conflicting opinions on quarterfinals. I don't know why I have to say this, but please read the highlighted. One, you need a video if you're going to be in a spot to move to the next level, top 2,000 for men and women, top 400 age groups or older, and top 300 age groups younger. And anyone kind of close could backfill, could be lots of people. You also have to prove you did it starting Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Don't leave it in CrossFit's hands and play the victim. They could ask anyone in a spot for a video. Yes, people will probably cheat. It's unfortunate. Don't be that person. Hill or Fit 2.0 will be out there doing his job. Now you know. Thanks and have fun out there. And the post is here. There's the highlighted video. Upon request, any athlete with a qualifying score on any quarterfinal workout may be required to provide video of their performance. If they cannot provide a video with proof of that, the workout was conducted within the given score submission window, they may receive a 0 score. So that is in the rule book. That is in the rule book. And so at any point, CrossFit can demand that you submit your video. So there it is. Ben Smith talks. He said, don't play the victim. There it is in the rule book. Don't not video your stuff. And when CrossFit asks for it and you don't have it, you don't have any opportunity to play the victim because it's right there in writing. I understand, Lito. It does say that, but you get Adrian Bosman saying in the CrossFit Games podcast that you literally don't need a video. I know. Adrian is a person who wants to believe in humanity, will do the right thing. And that's noble. And I love that about Adrian. I love hanging out with that dude. He is that, he lives that, and it's all about honor and accountability in yourself. But the reality of the world is not that. So there it is. Ben Smith, the man, the myth, the 2015 Games champion. Also, there's been a lot of talk about a lot of the quarterfinals not taking people from the quarterfinals, semifinals live in person, not taking quarterfinalists. Only 4 of the 10 are doing that. And Magic City put this out yesterday, which I found was pretty interesting. A statement on quarterfinals. With no required video submission for score submission, a lot of athletes are questioning how much the leaderboard really means. We've also seen the conversation around semifinals treating quarterfinals like a box to check instead of something that should actually matter. At the Magic City semifinal, quarterfinals matter. We are inviting athletes based on their placement on the quarterfinals leaderboard. We believe quarterfinals matter. We believe testing yourself matters. We believe earning it matters. So they are one of the 4 that are using the quarterfinal leaderboard to invite people to their live semifinal. And I believe that's what that is saying. Yeah, we can complain about there'll be cheaters. There's no video submission. There's none of this. But if you want to be invited by Magic City or by the other 3 quarterfinals, the other three semifinals that are inviting based on the leaderboard of quarterfinals, you're going to have to do the workouts and you're going to have to finish high. I think all they're saying, Mark, is the substance here is it's not just a box to check to be in the top 2,000 to move on. They are using these results to pick you to come to their event. So if you're just going to loaf through them and get in the top 2,000, you may not get picked to go to their event or one of the other three. They're saying you need to give it your all if you want to be selected, because they're going to start from the top and move down the list to select who gets invited to their semifinal event. Seema, that's what it seems like. The games are half invitational now. And I hate that. I hate that more than anything else this season, is that semifinals can invite people based on past performance instead of how they are performing during this season. That's the big miss in this season for me. I can handle a lot of the other stuff because I think it'll sort out in the wash. But what I cannot handle is that you are getting an invite to an event and you haven't done anything this season to earn it. That's what I hate. That's what I hate. And I get what JR said, and I get what Mayhem says about you need to promote the event with athletes. I get that. But there's got to be a better way. You should not be basing it on previous performance. A season in every sport that I follow and watch is all based on how you perform during that season. To have a season start with what you did last year to get an invite is ridiculous. And I think Dave even said that in his week in review. And hopefully, because of that, we can change some things up. What happens if someone who is previously invited to a semi, but then doesn't have a score which would qualify for semis? So what you're asking is, if they were invited to hypothetically Mayhem, and then they don't get a top 2,000 score in quarterfinals, what would happen? That is at the discretion of the event. I know that Syndicate Crown is only inviting people that are still eligible to get a spot for the games. So if you are not in that top 2,000, you lose your invite. If you've already qualified through another means, you lose your invite. They are only allowing people to come and play who can, so that their podium, their top three, will move on to the games. There's no if then else statements. If you finish top three at Syndicate, you're going on to the games. Super simple. And whether you like that rule or not, I love it for the simplicity, and I love that they're embracing, let's make this easier to explain. It's very easy to go to the Syndicate Crown and say, if you finish on the podium, you're going to the games. Everybody else, sorry about your luck. When you invite people who aren't eligible, then it muddies the water. And then if then else statements filter in, and then it's not just a direct, you can qualify this way or that way. The workout times are annoying. March 26th, 3 p.m., March 30th, 3 p.m. Make logistics tough. The time should not matter. You got to have a submission window, though, David. I think that is like on the priority of things that need to be fixed down on the list. So I was going to pose this question to Corey, and I'll pose it to you in the audience, and that is, if you were king for a day and you could change one thing about quarterfinals, but only one thing. You could only change one aspect of quarterfinals. What would that change be? And mine would be everybody needs to post their video publicly online. And it looks like a lot of people are saying video, but Daniel has an interesting one. Go from 25% to 10%. Paige Smith says, when it's announced, you can go. Mark says, delete quarterfinals altogether. I don't like that idea, Mark. I'm telling you. Hiller Fitz says, let me write them. Yeah. If I could make one change to semifinals, it would be that nobody gets an invite. You have to earn your spot. Shanna's on board for Hiller writing them. Delete them, go back to the open regionals games. I'm okay with them being there as part of the yearly test, but let's call it the 5th week of the open. There's a cut after week 3, there's a bye week, week 4, and then week 5 is the 5th week of the open, where you are now not only being tested on the workouts, but that you can handle the volume of 4 workouts in a weekend. And then from that, you go to semifinals or regionals or whatever we want to call it after that. And in that way, all the scores are together and you can have a 7-test open. A 7-test open, which is more complete, more robust, and more balanced for everything. And I'm actually okay with the 10%. I think that's fine. Unless HQ's telling me they need the 20%, 25% for money. And if they would just admit that to me, I'd be okay with the 25%. But I don't think it should be called quarterfinals. I think it should be a 5-week open with week 4 as your bye week, week 3 is a cut. Hexy Lover, do you think the new CrossFit board is open to suggestions like this? I think Dave is already thinking in that direction because he's talked about carrying over the scores from the open to the quarters. He's talked about liking the regional format better. And actually, if you go back to a regional format and you are forced to compete in your region to make the games, then the promotion thing is out the promotion excuse for the events goes out the window. And you get a very simple start to finish season. That's what I think. I think that people are already heading down that road. Is it the people that matter? I don't know how much power Dave has. If Dave has some power, I think we're looking at maybe a new season next year that goes back to more that type of thing. But I don't know how much the board is letting him have. Without a CEO, the board is more in control, or they've announced somebody kind of interim without publicly saying it. There's so many questions about that whole structure. I just don't know. I do like that, Mark. I do like the split leaderboard from start of the Open, and you either say you're competing or you're just there for fun. And I do, yeah. So that's interesting. That's interesting. So the last thing, Velomania, you're implying that some athletes at the Invitational Semi won't qualify. Who at Mayhem isn't going to qualify? What you really want is the selection should be based on ranking from quarterfinals. I do. I'm not saying they're not going to qualify. I'm not saying that. It's a bad precedent to set. You have a CrossFit Games season, and your ability to get to the championship level should be based on everything that happens in that season. And by inviting people in and giving them a spot at prime semifinals based on what they did last year is just against the rule of sport, period. I'm not saying that Dallin getting an invite to Legends means he's not going to qualify for the games and it's a mistake. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is he got that spot early and knows where he's going and got a prime semifinal that a lot of people want to go to based on what he did last year instead of this year. Daniel says, if the NFL did that, the Kansas City Chiefs fans would even be more insufferable. Can you imagine the NFL saying to the Seattle Seahawks, you won the Super Bowl last year, you don't have to play the regular season. Well, you do, but you just have to go 500. But we're going to invite you to the playoffs now. It doesn't even make sense if you apply the logic to any other sport. It just doesn't. So on that note, I'm going to head out of here. I want to leave you with one funny video I saw on Instagram. And we've been talking about, especially Sunday night and with Carolyn a lot over the last couple of years, testing athleticism in CrossFit. And the reason that comes up is CrossFit is very like straightforward, linear movement. There is no lateral movement really in CrossFit workouts. So how do we test for that? Right. And Rebecca Fuselier made a video that is hilarious about her as an athlete. Anyway, she's awesome. Always is awesome. My favorite part is when Bolt ate the chalk. So yeah. And of course, Carolyn has to come at me with an actual sport that does base their field on past performance. And that is at the Masters, you win the green jacket and you get an invite for the rest of your life. That is true. But they can actually expand their field beyond the regular field to invite the same number of athletes regardless of that. CrossFit doesn't do that at this point. They keep their athletes at 30 for the games. So there's always an exception to every rule. There it is. If you are doing quarterfinals, you get to start tomorrow. Hopefully testing is going well. And yeah, everything is awesome. With that, speaking of having a good day, make your night good too by getting your third Z. Use code Jazzy at checkout to get 15% off your order. That's jazzy.com/jazzy. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you feel motivated, hit that join button. It's as low as $3.99 a month to help us out and pay for the platforms that help us come on the air live every single day. With that, we'll see everybody next time on Lunch with the Clydesdale. Bye, guys. Sure. So if I can find the button.